capabilities and potentials and emancipation among girls. Numbers of girls in basic education have been, significantly growing over the years, even in STEM fields. But when it comes to higher learning, when it comes to career, both technical and managerial positions, those numbers drop significantly. So why? What can be done? What are the gaps? That's why we're here this evening. Please let us interact. So I'm glad to welcome our moderator, Novela Nikwigize. She's going to be the moderator of the session. Thank you.
So once again, good afternoon. I'm hoping we're all excited for this session. I would like to call upon my speakers and panelists for this session. First, Ms. Maneo Mafarisa, who's coming from Lesotho. Please help me welcome her with a round of applause. We'll also have Ms. Sibongile Rejoice Sambo, who's coming all the way from South Africa, and who is a woman leading the first female-led aviation company in South Africa, SRS Aviation. And I would like also to welcome my third panelist, Ms. Raham, who also has extensive experience in the area of ICT and coming from Somalia. Help me welcome her. My last panelist, you probably know her if you are from Rwanda. It's Mrs. Josephine Nyiranzeimana, who heads the Rwanda Institute Society of RISA. We all know RISA. And the first question to Ms. Josephine will be to explain exactly what RISA does. But basically, it really leads the efforts of having a smarter Rwanda in the country, in all sectors. So she's the best place to actually speak about this. Thank you very much to my panelists. So today, this session is expected to be a little bit different. We shift gears, and we want to hear from people first. So we have been, in preparation of this session, we have gone in different places, in high schools, in primary schools, in universities, but also in the workplace, where women and young girls are actually living the challenges we're talking about today. We've talked about the different challenges of having more young women in STEM, and we don't know why. So some of the challenges were shared by people who are actually living those issues. And I would like to ask the technical team to help me with a quick video. And those challenges will be the first question to actually our panelists this afternoon. Thank you.
My name is Shami Miracle. I am 12. I study in P6. I like science subjects and reading books. My dream is to become a scientist so that I discover a medicine to treat virus. I always advise my friend girls to love school and love science because it's fun.
My name is Mahoro Foibe. I'm 17 years old. I'm in senior 6. I'm studying Hague, history, economics, and geography. Science is a very hard subject and career for women.
My name is Nirahumre Emeline. I'm 17. The challenge I'm facing, we have many subjects and homework which we don't finish at school. And I can't find time home because when I arrive home, I have to cook for everyone and clean the dishes.
I grew up knowing that technology was for boys, not for girls. The challenge that I faced when I was studying was lack of learning materials. Also, I have pressure for people who are pushing me to get married. Even if I have a advanced diploma in information systems, I'm still struggling for looking a job. where I have applied, the employers, they are looking for those people who have bachelor degrees.
My name is Rahma Ahmed. I'm Somali. The first time I've traveled, it was coming to do my master's degree here in Rwanda in information technology, specializing in IT entrepreneurship and software engineering. Growing up in Saudi Arabia as a Somali refugee, it wasn't so easy. I have faced many challenges during my studies. It was the discrimination that I was getting from my own instructors because I'm not a citizen in the country. After I've graduated from my university, I started to look for work. The problem was that it wasn't that the fact that the employers wasn't willing to hire me, it's because of the work laws there. If you are hiring a woman, there has to be a separate section or separate department where only women will work in. When I started to applying for universities, there are public universities, governmental universities. None of them was willing to even look at my application because I'm a woman.
My name is Solange Singh. I work as a senior database engineer for AOS in the Internet Data Center department. The challenges I've been facing are always the same, like people not believing you, just people looking down on you because you are a woman, and they don't even give you a chance to prove yourself. It ends up having a negative impact on your self-confidence, and that's why you find out that most women are suffering from what they call intruder symptoms, where you end up believing that you don't really deserve the best.
Awesome. I think that sets the stage more than any other speech would have done it. And I think that also highlights some of the challenges that young women are actually facing. A number of policies have been put out. A lot of frameworks and institutions are actually encouraging more women to come into STEM, and yet the result is still the same. We're having great interest at younger age, and as the age goes by, we actually have less and less interest. And not only less and less interest, but people actually choose to go out of that field, of the STEM field. And we need to understand why in order to actually make sure that we can change that cycle. I would like to start with you, Ms. Mafarisa. I think we've talked about a number of the challenges that young women are facing, especially challenges to remain in the field. And I think we've heard from students at high school level in going either in HEG or being in STEM, but because they have so much other things to do, they cannot really focus. And I know you work with those young women. So what is your main advice actually in making sure that they address those challenges and go beyond that and really enjoy what STEM has to offer?
Right, I remember because I had the same challenge like them. In my high school level, I didn't know anything about the computer. In my high school, there were no computer lessons. So I believe if we can start at the younger generation and groom them until they are at tertiary level, I think that would be the answer. Again, the other thing, we usually have hackathons, coding camps, where all the girls be on one group. They address their challenges, and they usually help with each other, those challenges, how they overcome them. Because in my field, computer is something that is becoming new every time and every day. So we need younger brains so that they can tell us what is their challenges and everything that they are facing. Like right now, we are coming with a solution. We have trained almost above 4,000 girls. So we want to see...
Can we clap for above 4,000 girls in Lesotho that are trained in coding?
Yes, in all districts. And we want to see if we are the one trainers having problems or are their kids having problems. We're going to have a conference, Girl Tech Conference, where those girls will be bringing their projects. We talk about the challenges, solutions, and everything that we are facing so that we can empower as we girls. Like any girl is welcome to come there. I think that's how we are solving it in my country.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I think we'll have more questions even coming from the audience to you, I'm sure. Sibongile, I think we've seen clearly that there's an issue between what girls and women actually learn at school, at university, and how they actually make that work in the world of work. And today, we talk about STEM as something that is essential for future jobs. And yet, it seems that for women, it's hard for them to translate this diploma or degree into something that they can actually work on and use in the industry. And yet, you have been able to actually, with coming from an HR background, you've opened a whole line of aviation. And that is definitely a job of the future. So how do we make that shift? How do we actually get that breakthrough in the system?
Okay, firstly, thank you very much and good afternoon, everyone. That is a very key question that you've asked. For me, STEM is very important. And STEM doesn't begin when you have a degree. Mm-hmm. As a mother, I believe that we need to start the STEM education when a child is very young. Mm-hmm. When I say very young, there are toys that we can take for granted, like Lego. Do you know about Lego toys? You can
By
buy...
show of hands, who knows Lego? Who has used those in his or her childhood?
Yes.
Okay.
Lego toys, you know, they are a foundation to STEM. It's something that it's not formalized to say it's a STEM education, but it's actually STEM education. It touches on all elements of STEM. Mm-hmm. So, another myth that I've come across is that to be able to become a pilot, you need to understand or to have learned maths and science. It is important to learn and have those subjects, but other things, you learn them on the job. So coming from a human resources background, passion led me to a STEM environment. Aviation is a highly technological environment, but I decided that I would not wait to study and become an aeronautical engineer before I could own an aviation company. And I'm so proud to say I employ engineers and pilots. So when you're passionate about something, then it's easy to take interest in learning about the subject. It may not be too formal that you are learning something in maths, science, or technology, but through passion and putting into action what you love, it makes it very easy. Mm-hmm. And for women, we must stop shying or being shy to do things that we're passionate about. When I decided to start an aviation company, I did consult here and there, but there were those small voices, you know, that will come and say, you won't be able to make it. Mm-hmm. You are a human resources practitioner. What do you know about aviation? But we can break the barriers. As women, we can break any barriers. So I will encourage everybody who's interested to get into a STEM environment, to go for it. Don't wait to have a formal education. That can follow you. But if passion is there, you will succeed.
Thank you very much. I think it's really inspiring and also expand the scope of what we call STEM jobs. You don't have to go to a PhD in maths, for example, and then get a job. I think there are more routes and more paths. I would like to call upon you, Raham. I think you've shared with your own personal story, and I think it also brings back to the fact that as a woman, you don't not only have the barrier of ICT or STEM that would be applicable to everyone, but you also have some particular ones. So could you tell us and share probably with the young people who are here, what was your motive to actually keep on pushing because you wanted that to study in that very field particularly?
For me, most of the strength that I had was from my community. My family, my uncles, my aunts, everyone around me was encouraging me to learn. And that was one of the reasons that I actually continued in this field, despite all the difficulties that I had in the field of STEM. Mm-hmm. Because getting into a school, watching your siblings getting into different schools while you stay at home and try to get yourself admitted to a STEM-related field is quite hectic. I spent a year and a half after graduating high school at home because I couldn't find a place in software engineering. 17 governmental universities,
they are not allowing me to walk through the door because I'm a refugee.
I think it also brings back, I think we've been talking about SDGs and leaving no one behind. I think some of those realities need to be, spread out so that something is really done. Thank you very much for sharing your story. I would like to call upon Josephine as of now. We've seen the different challenges that women, once they are in STEM, once they are working as IT engineers, etc., etc. And I think a number of things didn't show up in the video, but we know them. The additional burden for a young woman, for a woman, professional, in STEM, in a male-dominated environment, and still pushing, and sometimes leading others. And the last person really shared that, looking like as if you were an intruder or an imposter. So how do we make sure that our young women are actually having are having strong arms to actually bear that additional responsibility?
Thank you, Novella, and good afternoon, everyone. Maybe I'll start with the very first question. RISA is Rwanda Information Society Authority, and I work there as the government CIO, deputy to my CEO. Maybe I'll speak from also the background of what we do at RISA, looking at what technology and internet is basically doing, changing every aspect of our lives. We're moving to digital. We're actually into the digital economy, and we need to be ready for the fourth industrial revolution type of work, but also closing the gaps that are there, because there couldn't be a digital economy without the women, without the girls. So how do we make sure we actively participate as women in the digital economy? And this starts with education, like my colleagues mentioned. So it's very important to have women educated, but also educated in STEM, because in the digital economy, most of the jobs will be driven by innovation. Most of the jobs will be, into computing and highly skilled type of fields. So if women are left behind, it will be a bigger challenge than even today. So from policies that are put in place for all the initiatives that are out there and the challenges that were showcased here, there are even more that we know of, but even driving from these ones, we could say that for women, yes, the challenges are there, but also we are able to overcome them, seeing the great panelists that we have here, but also all that we know, our mothers who've taught us, who've encouraged us to go to school, sometimes our brothers and fathers and, the community. You won't find someone who will speak without saying maybe there's someone who encouraged me at some point. I had a chance to meet someone who mentored me to, keep the journey, and other opportunities that are put out there. Now, speaking from how do we make sure we strive, I'll use an example. While I was in school, I did mathematics and physics in high school, and I was in a real male-dominated classroom. And sometimes I would see something that I don't really understand, but I would shy to, raise my hand and ask so that I can understand. So after some time, I realized that it's not okay to assume that you understand. You have to ask so that you really understand. The same applies in the work environment. So if you have an idea and you believe it's the right one, it doesn't matter you are a woman or a girl, you have to speak out. Because I've never been, beaten or, taken back because I asked a question. Rather, I always got the answers. So it's not okay to let the fears dominate our passion. I like what Mrs. Sambo shared. If you really like something, if you're into something, don't be discouraged or, don't let the fear overtake your passion. Please, I'd urge the women and girls here to follow your passion, follow your heart, because when you think about something, that's 50% a possibility that you'll make it. So try to get support, consult, but also keep what you really believe in you. Don't imitate, do what you really want to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's important. And in what you're saying, we're also sensing that there are more to just, women want to get there. They want to go into STEM, et cetera, and stay there. But usually they face some barriers. And that's the barriers that I want to talk about maybe before we bring in the audience. First barriers, we've talked about the policies, we've talked about what is being done at national level, but also some invisible barriers. And also maybe work opportunities, because a number of those people say, okay, if I'm going to go and do a degree in maths, what am I going to get out of there? So maybe, can we address those questions? Maneo, what do you, when you teach coding to young women, today coding and STEM has become like, it's the new trend. But why is it important actually to learn those skills for future jobs?
Okay, I think, thank you. It's important because right now, the backbone of a thriving economy is, depends on technology. Like right now, you cannot do some agriculture has technology, nursing has technology, every field has technology. So programming, if you're a programmer, I think you'll be the best, you'll be the best for your country, and your country will thrive through that. And I believe in empowering women, other women to be independent so that they can, there's a lot of women are not hired in my country. So I believe most women will be able to provide for themselves and be able to empower other women. So that will also help. Again, I take programming as a language. Like in my country, the official language is English and Sesotho, but I think coding should be part of it because like right now, in primary, preschool, and tertiary level, there is no curriculum where teachers, let's say in tertiary, there are no teachers who have a profession for teaching young high school or primary level programming. There is no curriculum of programming in my country. So I believe that is a very big challenge. And we are way behind because of that. So I want to change that. I want women to be empowered so that we can change that system that we have in my country. The other thing, the graduating girls. In my tertiary levels in my country, there are very few. I would say 2% of girls are graduating in computer science or STEM programs. So that is a problem. And I want to solve that problem by going to younger girls, primary level, preschools, because there are so many good softwares that you can use to train your kid so that they cannot just play games. They should know how to create the games. Exactly. They should not just watch cartoons on TV. They should know how to create those cartoons. Yes, that's what I want for those kids. And the other thing, I think the other thing we as girls, like we don't have a platform or any innovation park where we can introduce anything related to IT or any expo or anything. So I think that is something that we have to work on in our country. I think that's it.
Thank you very much. I think it's important also to really think about what the country can do at national level, at policy level,
yes,
to make sure that we have those things and we don't have to look for STEM or ICT related skills outside of the school system.
Yes, because most of, like right now, they're importing many employees outside the country and they're not looking inside our country, so we want to break that barrier. So
definitely.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I would like you, Sibongile, to talk about another kind of a barrier, And I think those are social barriers. Let me break it down for you guys. We're in South Africa. An airline is owned by a black, if I'm not mistaken, woman. And that's a first in such a country. So obviously, I'm sure you had to break some social barriers and some mindsets that you had to shift completely. How did you do that?
Okay, firstly, 14 years later to starting SRS Aviation, I am still addressed as Mr. Sambo. Do I look like a man? Emails, phone calls, or even people looking at me, they would still say, Mr. Sambo, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, do you see a Mr. Sambo here? Those are the kind of stereotypes. But I don't allow those kind of things to break me. Actually, they empower me. And secondly, when I started SRS Aviation in 2004, many people told me that it is so difficult to get the licenses, to be licensed to run an airline. And secondly, it's very expensive to do so. But I decided that I will go and give it a try myself. First time, I appointed a consultant to assist me with the application process and everything. But halfway through the line, I realized that I could actually save my money and do this thing myself. And I actually got the license. Fully licensed to fly passengers and cargo worldwide, not only in South Africa.
Wow.
We can, if you charter my aircraft, I can come to Rwanda.
Awesome.
Yes, so basically what we do, we are more like a rental, do you know Avis? A car rental, or I don't know which car rentals you've got here in Rwanda.
Which car rental do you have?
I'm asking if you've got any car rental companies.
I'm trying to think about a name, but anyway, yeah.
Yes, but what I'm trying to explain is that my company is more like a car rental, but an air one. So we're not like Rwandan Air where we fly every day. You ask for a private jet, and then we send it to you, or a helicopter, and we take you to anywhere.
Awesome.
So the barriers that we've broken as well is that some of those aeroplanes and helicopters are flown by women. Just a short story. Samkel Siwe is one of the employees at SRS Aviation. She came in visiting my sister as a friend at my office. And she decided to be active and offered tea to my visitors when I had meetings. And I realized that this child, she is enthusiastic. She wants to do something. She doesn't have a job. She's from a township called Soweto in Johannesburg. Then I decided to offer her a job. I trained her. I sent her for training to train as a personal assistant. She became a personal assistant. Halfway through the line, I asked her, do you want to fly an aeroplane? She said, I've never been in one. I said, but do you still want to fly it? She said, yes. Today, Samkel Siwe is one of our pilots.
Wow.
She got her flying license even before she got her driving license. So those are the kind of stereotypes that we're breaking. And then another thing, when you are in aviation, aviation is a very closed environment. It's operated by specific groups of people, wealthy people, famous people, big organizations. So for us as a small company to break into those barriers, it was never easy. Simple things like going to a meeting and they refer to alphabets, to Alpha, Romeo, Delta, Victor. You know, it's something that we needed to learn because you get to a boardroom, if you don't speak the language that is spoken in that sector, then you are deemed as somebody who is not supposed to be in that sector. So what is important is that once you have passion in something and you want to pursue it, do read about it. Get education behind it. And finally, at the moment, we not only looking at flying passengers and cargo worldwide. I have appointed a group of youth, male and female, and we are starting a plant in South Africa to manufacture aircraft fasteners.
Wow.
Those are the nuts and bolts in aeroplanes. We are going to supply Rwandan Air one day. I hope I answered all your questions.
Yes, definitely. I think it's also interesting that we are seeing that not only, I mean, Rwanda, we know, in terms of gender equality, empowering young women, we know that a lot has been done, but it's also true that even in other countries, even in countries where we face multiple barriers, we can actually overcome those different ones. And that's where I'm coming to you, Raham. I think sometimes young women, we give ourselves some excuses. I'm sure all of us here can plead guilty on that. But it's also important that we understand that we are the ones that are actually actor of our life, and we're responsible for each and every of the choice that we make. In addition of the supporting environment, what is the one thing that young women out there, and I want you to speak to those young women, to actually probably pursue some of those dreams beyond just something that you want and that you're going to stop, especially for entrepreneurship, for example, that you're going to stop because you get a job, you're going to stop because you get married, you're going to stop because, you know, it's just too hard. So what are those things that your fellow young female here should really look up to and go faster to actually achieve?
For me, finding a role model, someone to aspire to, was quite pivotal for me. Find someone out there who is in technology, a woman who's already successful there. Figure out what she was doing, how she got there, and try to do the same. And trust me, when it comes to technology, whether you are a woman or whether you are a man, it doesn't matter. It's a lot of hard work. If you're not willing to put the hard work in it, you won't go anywhere with it. It wouldn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. You need to study, and study like every single day. And even after you graduate, you keep on studying and studying and studying and studying. It's a never-ending study
journey
experience. So if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to work on yourself and put the effort in yourself, for me, so far, I've finished around 50 online courses that had nothing to do with the degree that I was doing. But it helped me a lot as a developer. It helped me a lot to gain whatever experience I needed. It's not about your school only. It's not about your community only. What are you willing to do for yourself? What are you putting on the table? Why should we select you? Think about that. Think about the skill sets that you need, regardless whether you are a man or a woman. What must I be to be in that field? And try to work towards it. And don't kill yourself. Houses are not built in one day. There has to be a foundation that has to be made first. After the foundation is solid, you build on it brick by brick. And that's what technology is. Figure out a solid foundation for you. Figure out a community for you. Go to tech hubs. Visit places like this. Talk to other people. Find me in my university. Do whatever it is that you have to do. But don't let others discourage you. I have a lot of people in my life that have told me everything you can think of. And the worst part, they were my teachers, they were my friends, they were the parents of my teachers, they were adults in my life, breaking me down piece by piece. And if it wasn't for my family, if it wasn't for my father and my mother, I would have been here. Seriously, I was 7 years old when I had to doing a math class. I looked up to the board and I realized there was a problem in this equation that we were solving. 7. I had pointed it out to my instructor. Do you know what she said to me? She said, "Go home, you guys are nothing but pirates," to a 7-year-old.
Wow.
It could break your heart in many ways. I went home crying like you cannot believe. And for my father, to make me feel better, he sat me down and literally said to me, "Some people are just evil."
Plain.
Plain and simple. It's nothing about you. It's nothing about what you're doing. They are just mean. Get those people out of your life. Get the haters and the down putters and whatever they are away from your life. Find positive people, bubbly people. Be happy. Look at yourself in the mirror. It's a great exercise. I'm not saying this without practicing it. Every single day I wake up, I look at myself in the mirror and say, I am kind, I'm smart, and I'm beautiful.
Right there.
You need to tell yourself that. Nobody out there would do it for you. Not your mother, not your father, not your siblings, not anyone around you, not even your community. If you do not respect yourself, if you do not love yourself, nobody will do it for you.
Thank you very much. So basically, just toughen up. It's a very complicated world out there, so you need to toughen up, and you owe it to yourself. I would like to address the last element, probably, in terms of barriers. And I think we're here talking about entrepreneurship for young people. And obviously, I know a number of young ladies are developing apps. They are having some great ideas in the area of ICT, in the area of STEM sometimes. But usually, they also face some challenges in terms of how do we turn that idea into practical, a business, a viable business. And sometimes they just abandon the idea altogether. So what would be your take on also the number of opportunities that are out there that can help those young women to actually go past having the idea, wanting to do something, but also able to actually find financing, education opportunities, mentorship opportunities, those ones?
Thanks, moderator. I'll go back to what I said earlier. Having an idea is like 50% of getting to actually realize it. And to your question, I'll also mention another type of stereotype that I would call maybe virtual, because it's not seen, but it's there. We've spoken about the stereotypes from an early age where you're told that STEM is for boys, tech is for boys, girls who do STEM can't get married, or they are tough, or all those sort of things. But there's also a stereotype that is embedded in that, because as a woman or a young girl, we kind of learn to practice our public speaking very late sometimes.
Or not at all.
Or not at all. Also, in other cases, you have a talent, but you can't show it, depending on cultural or, all these stereotypes. So I believe we need to break those as well, because learning STEM it's one thing, but also being able to demonstrate your knowledge in creating, innovating, or facing a challenge and being really able to stand against and really overcome the challenge, it requires other type of skills that girls don't get time or chances to develop earlier enough. So I believe girls in this room, women, wherever you are, mentorship is great, but let not be half. We need to also go there, because we've been there maybe, or we've seen people who've been there, and be able to tell earlier enough so that the girl can really start working on those as well. I really commend Ramzi to learn even things that doesn't matter to your degree right now, but you think you might need. So it's really good to get prepared and take enough package, because fights or challenges that are ahead of you, it becomes very easy when you really have enough package to either use or tactics that you can use to overcome those challenges. So back to opportunities that are there. I've never seen any advert that, in Rwanda at least, that discriminates women to compete for. Rather, some puts special, I would say, specialties for women or encouragement for women. So that means opportunities are there for both women and girls and boys. So it's about us women to get informed, because sometimes there's also information gap. You'll find a boy and a girl, you'll ask for something, the boy knows, the girl doesn't. And this also links to that issue that I just mentioned. We don't really follow up on getting information, being informed, stay up to date. So it's one task for girls to stay updated and have full information, and then have the courage to try. There's nothing wrong about failing. You can fail, you can try and fail, but the true fail is always when you stop trying.
Thank you very much. And speaking about opportunities, we are here, Youth Connect, I think, has opened up a number of opportunities, and I also know that there's a Youth Connect fund that has been launched this morning to actually support more young women into any area they want to get into, including tech. And I know that last year, Jack Ma had come at Youth Connect, and he had also pledged to actually support some young women and men by training them, etc., etc. And I know there's one lady that took the opportunity. Her name is Leah. Is she in the room? All right. I would like the mic to come to you, actually. I think there's something about taking up opportunities and what you do with them. And I know you have been a beneficiary of one of those opportunities, and I really want to know what you did with it.
Thank you so much. My name is Leah Owehore. I'm a CEO and founder of Golden Thoughts. It's a tech company that helps local manufacturers to be able to sell their products across the world. Primarily, we help women artisans to be able to sell their products using e-commerce. So I just want to address, according to what we've been discussing in the room, I just want to address one of the challenges that we are facing as girls or women. I try to note it down here. Sometimes gender has held us back, but today we should live life that think beyond gender. What matters is how we define your life. In some African countries, culture has always been playing a big role on individual development. Some countries, girls at a puberty stage, they have to drop out of school when their parents think they are ready for marriage, while boys are still enjoying their childhood. So I'm just trying to define some of the challenges that we meet. Most of them are, our backgrounds, but others are in our mindsets. The biggest challenge I think we have today is our mindset. If we can change our mind, I think it's going to help us to do a lot with our own potentials. So from what I've been asked about the opportunity that I've got, which was announced last year at Youth Connect. Last year, actually, I happened to be awarded with a bronze prize at a Youth Connect last year. And then from there, Jack Ma was here, and then he announced that he's going to give chances to men and women to be able to go to China and then learn from the beginning to know how to do the business. So in 2017, I tried to make an application as everyone, and then I didn't get a chance to be selected. So this year, again, the chances come back. And then I had to be like, okay, if last year it didn't happen for me to make it, then this time I should try again until the time I'll make it myself. Unfortunately, early this year I tried, and then I applied, and then I got a chance. I had to go to China and then learn from those successful people. I think everyone knows Jack Ma, so we had really a good session to learn so many things with him. So my message today, I just wrote it down, and I want to read it for everyone in the house. Girls who are here, we are mothers of tomorrow. We have responsibilities of our own families. The children we shall give birth to, and we are the ones to stand out for our own rights. We have the same role as men to shape destiny of civilization. Nobody gives power, you just have to take it. Let's wake up, let's stand out, and work so hard. Try again and again. Let us take popular routes. Let's quit shortcuts and join the real race of life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Leah. And I think it's a strong call for action for each and every one of us at any stage that we are in, especially young women, but I think it's for all of us to actually go forward and take those opportunities that are availed. I would like to invite the audience to ask questions, and especially I would like to hear.
On that note, I
Yes.
would like to say something. Before I got accepted at Carnegie Mellon University as a master's student, I have applied for 17 different ones. Got accepted at 16, but awarded a scholarship at 1. That's why I'm here. So going to school, if the first place says no to you, you don't stop. The second place says no to you, don't stop. Okay, they said yes to you, but they're asking you to pay. Go find another place. Don't ever stop looking. Giving up is the worst thing that you can do to yourself.
Definitely. Thank you very much. I had seen a hand there from Elizabeth Wajaneza.
Thank you. My name is Elizabeth Ujeneza. I'm a senior software engineer, and actually I act as a division manager of software solutions at RISA. Thank you for this interesting discussion and the good panelists. I have a couple of comments, but mostly to encourage girls because they are the ones to shape their own destiny. For girls here, there are plenty of opportunities around. There are good policies put in place to allow girls to be empowered to join STEM field, and not only doing the STEM courses, but also to pursue your career in STEM environment. So go grab them, use the opportunities that are available. We have internet. Nowadays, we are using the internet for several things, for social media, but we are not really leveraging it to tap into several resources that can be put to the internet for our own benefit. So if we are not awarded a scholarship or a good school is not, we are not going to a good school, we still have those resources to develop our skills and still grow our career the way we want it. So get involved also in several initiatives. We have, our panelist is conducting a program for teaching young girls for coding. We have similars everywhere. It's a trend for teaching girls to code. We have the She Can Code, several boot camps. Tech Women Alumni conducting STEM fair. You have Girls Tech Talk, where we can break the barriers and challenge those stereotypes where most people believe that only male can sit down and discuss about technology. If you see a group of girls discussing, you think they are just talking about fashion, makeup, things like those. But we can break those stereotypes and sit down as girls, discuss technology.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and another advice to women doing their career in STEM is to really manage well our time. We are expected to be perfect as mothers, to be perfect as wives. So we need also to be perfect as employees at our workspace. We are talented, we are multitasking, we are good at that. So there is no way we cannot do that. Just set goals, prioritize your activities, and manage well your time. So it's a call for all of us to break those stereotypes so that we change the mindset of our girls from the early age, but also for ourselves to manage well our time and be perfect in all that.
Thank you very much. Just in front of you, if you could pass on the mic. Just there. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'd like to speak in French.
Yeah, please.
Je suis Diana Zama. J'étais encore à la session passée. Là, j'avais une autre casquette. Là, je vais me présenter comme une autre casquette. Ce n'est pas une question, mais j'ai un message peut-être d'encouragement. Je viens de la RDC, République démocratique du Congo. Je suis photographe documentaire. J'ai commencé la photographie à l'âge de 14 ans, 15 ans. Et à l'époque, en 2006, je suis la première fille photographe en RDC et la plus jeune que j'étais. Vraiment, je suis très motivée. Je suis vraiment, je ne sais pas comment exprimer cette émotion quand j'écoute cette inspiration-là, une femme pilote, les dames qui ont vraiment, moi j'appelle les femmes de millénaires. Je vous dirai pourquoi. Quand je commençais la photographie, les gens me disaient, bon, on n'a jamais vu une fille photographe ou une femme photographe. Donc cette fille-là doit devenir folle, ou elle ne sait pas ce qu'elle fait, ou soit, bon, elle n'aura jamais à se marier. Comment une fille peut faire la photographie? Et derrière ça, comme on dit toujours, on s'altère dans les stéréotypes. Voilà, la femme reste la femme doit s'occuper de la maison, la femme ne peut pas faire un métier. Je ne sais pas, comme en Afrique on le dit, il y a un métier spécifique aux hommes et un métier spécifique aux femmes. C'est ce qu'on a déjà fait de notre Afrique. Et les gens, j'étais pas vraiment motivée sur ce que je faisais, mais j'aimais la photographie. Mais la communauté était là, ça c'est un métier des hommes. Il arrivait un moment, on arrivait à la maison, on dit à mes parents, vous laissez votre fille faire un métier des hommes, ce n'est pas bien, ce n'est pas l'encourager. Va juste étudier, tu es une belle femme, tu auras à te marier. Et c'était vraiment une barrière pour moi. Il arrivait de temps, j'arrive à la maison, je pleure. Bon, je laisse la photographie parce que c'est un métier des hommes. Et ni était le courage et ma détermination, j'allais stopper avec la photographie. Et c'est aujourd'hui, je me suis décidée de faire la photographie documentaire, narrer ces histoires-là, les stéréotypes qui sont derrière le métier qu'on appelle spécifique des hommes en Afrique. Comment on peut aussi inspirer les autres, comme on veut de Dieu. Comme ça que j'ai fait les premiers projets sur la femme du millionnaire, la capacité de la femme en Afrique, qu'est-ce que la femme est en mesure de faire. Donc je dirais dans l'ensemble qu'on n'est pas des êtres inférieurs. On veut former une équipe avec les hommes pour compléter ce qu'ils ont commencé depuis des décennies et des décennies. Donc on a besoin des hommes et des femmes, où ce n'est pas parce qu'on on aime beaucoup parler de femmes, non. Tout simplement, les problèmes qu'on est en train de passer est différent de ce que les hommes ont vécu.
Merci beaucoup.
Donc, merci. C'est ça.
Okay. 1 minute so that we can have more people intervening as we come to a close.
Thank you so much. I'm called Dana Mushimimana. I'm representing Africa Union Youth for Change, where we have our representative in African countries, diaspora, and Black and American Black people. So I would like to share what we have done to encourage girls in tech innovation. We have started opening like talent hub in high schools, where, for instance, we had a talent hub in Lycée de Kigali. It's one of schools which is in Kigali, where we have like 40 girls who have started working on softwares, and up to now, UN Association in Germany came to visit our talent hub and appreciate, even have took some project which now are under advocacy. Also, two companies from Switzerland came to visit our talent hub. So girls are really encouraged. They work on various activities which related to tech innovation. Also, when they work together, like two to four of them are working together. Even there are some who worked on robot, which may be help those in the agriculture sector, like in agri-tech innovation, which many are really appreciate on that. And also have opened another talent hub in South Province, Group of Siedo Utare, which we keep moving and proceed well. I don't know where in other countries have started. I encourage if they can start that in high schools, which also help to fight against, to fight unemployment issue after schools, where girls may find something to do, not becoming street beggars or street ones. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go on this side a little bit as we come back there.
Thank you, Miss Panelist. My name is Cynthia Chofna. I'm a public relations and communications manager at an organization in Kampala, Uganda. So before I actually state what I want to, I would like to re-echo the words that the lady from RISA said, she said, if you do not understand something, you better ask. So I want to ask Miss Panelist, where are the men, or where is the man on your panel? Because I honestly I feel that there are men that are supporting young girls and women to do great things when it comes to the STEM, science, technology, mathematics, and engineering, entrepreneurship, economics. Yes? So I feel that with these discussions, with these conversations, we are sidelining the men. And yet there is no sphere that we are going to walk into that we're not going to find a man. Yes? And I feel that we need these men as challenges so that we can be better. So that the lady in the last, in the video, the last lady in the video said when they get into these spaces, they then feel that the syndrome, she called it intruder syndrome. I have a feeling it's because they are not in the same spaces as these men. We had young men seated right here, and then they walked out just before the session ends. In my mind, I'm thinking, are these conversations boring them? When you started the session, you said the men were staring at you, and you were saying, this session belongs to them as well, but how are we getting them on board? I would have suggested that if the fifth chair, you would have requested for a fifth chair of a speaker that would have been a man, so we just get to know from their perspective what it is that maybe women need to do better to just break into this industry. I can't be corrected if, thank you.
Maybe we
May
can
I
address
take
that
that
question
one?
right away, I'm sure.
There's a man right by your side. Can you pass the mic, please? Thank you.
Okay, I'll respond. My name's Jeremy Solomons. I'm here from Austin, Texas. And I didn't know about this conference until my colleague told me yesterday. So thank you for allowing me to come. And I'm thinking as you're all speaking is how I was socialized in England, where I'm from, how I work. I do leadership development in the United States and around the world. And really a lot of what you're saying applies to men too. And even the intruder syndrome. Because a lot of men, they will never admit it, but they also have a lot of fear and doubts about whether they can do something. And very often they can't. But the way you're socialized, to your point about starting very early, boys tend to be socialized, and this is around the world, very early to basically, you can do it. You don't have to people please. You are the master of the house, you're the master of the family. You can go ahead and do it, and even if you don't know how to do it, just pretend you can do it.
Fake it till you make it.
So for me, I have a 21-year-old daughter. So right from when she was a very young girl, I took her traveling, and I tried to say to her, you can do it, nothing is impossible. And she is now coding, so it is possible.
Thank you very much. I think to also add to what he's saying, I don't think we have sidelined the men, as you're saying. The intention of this discussion, once again, and that's the reason why it's called Girl Tech Talk. Sometimes in STEM, we find young women or older or younger women actually find themselves in an area where they don't really have a safe space to talk about their particular challenges. And that's the safe space that we're trying to create here. We're trying to create a space where young women can actually listen to other women that have gone through the same spaces and through the same challenges and through the same issues and say, basically, it's possible. So that's the reason why we haven't sidelined men. I'm seeing a lot of men here, and a number of men, as we're organizing the session, actually participated to the discussion. But we really want to create role models, as you have been talking about, role models that actually have gone through this and that can tell younger women, you can do it. But we haven't sidelined men at all. Let's have a last question just in the back, and then we'll come back to in the back.
In the back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just there.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you, panelists. It was really interesting and inspiring. I would like to share my own experience. My name is Wala. I come from Sudan. I'm a mechanical engineer. I have an MSc in Advanced Mechanical Engineering from Imperial College London, specialized in nanofluid and aircraft engine technology. So first of all, if we would like to talk about tackling Africa problem, we need infrastructures. We talk about, free trading, free movement, which means infrastructures. And of course, in Africa, we have a problem when it comes to infrastructure. And in reports, they say that we need around 3 million engineers, which means that they can't do it without us. So we need to know that. From my own personal experience, I was hired as the first female mechanical engineer in Sudanese sugar factories since its establishment in the 60s. I had to travel to rural areas, work in a very conservative, very difficult, challenging situation. It was their first time to have a female engineer there. At first, when I went to the workshop, men, they were staring at me behind the windows. So what I decided to do, I had to put some extra effort. I was, driving the forklift, running from workshop to workshop. They were telling me, I've been working here in the workshop for 50 years. I wouldn't try even to drive that forklift. So sometimes we need to take it extra mile. We need to be overachievers. So these are the kind of challenges that we face, even the working environment. I didn't have a place to stay in. I had to stay in the men rest houses. These where we need interventions from government, from organizations, but also if we find ourselves in such situation, we need to challenge ourselves as women. I had my doubts. Can I survive in that environment? But I remind myself that if I went there and I conquered those challenges, I will open the doors for other girls. So we are the source for our own empowerment. Some of us should take, step forward and to make the sacrifices. Just remember that we are our own source of empowerment and backbone. Don't wait for other people to open the door for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, awesome. I have a young man in the back.
Hi, everybody. I'm Methode Bantea from DRC. I'm going to speak in French. J'ai une question. Je vais faire la liaison entre la session sur la prévention des grossesses chez les adolescents et la session actuelle. Et du coup, j'aimerais demander à mesdames qui nous ont présenté leurs témoignages, comment vous avez fait, mesdames, au regard des normes socioculturelles en Afrique, comment vous avez fait pour arriver là où vous êtes aujourd'hui, à être pilote, par exemple, avoir des entreprises dans la technologie? Comment vous avez fait pour arriver là? Et la dernière question, qu'est-ce que vous pensez faire pour aider les autres femmes, les autres filles qui ont été aujourd'hui mères à cause des grossesses pendant qu'elles ont été adolescentes? Comment vous pensez les aider? Comment vous pensez aider aussi les filles qui sont dans les intérieurs, là où il n'y a pas ni route, là où il n'y a pas ni ordinateur, ni quoi que ce soit? Qu'est-ce que vous pensez faire, mesdames, pour aider nos jeunes filles et nos jeunes sœurs dans les intérieurs, partout en Afrique? Merci.
Thank you very much. I think we can come back to the panel a little bit, and then we'll get close to the conclusion of the session. I think a number of comments have been spread out. So I'll just give you the flow and want to address one or two questions before we get to the concluding remarks.
Okay, even though I don't understand French very well, but I'll go to the First Lady where she talked about we as women, we have to be at home, be the shelter, or be the one that powerful and respectful and doing everything at home. I believe technology is a solution to that, because you can work at home. You don't need to have a physical structure. You can do programming at home, submit your work at home, own comfortable time. Maybe when the kids are asleep at night at 12 o'clock, just start doing your work and earning money at home. So I'll only talk on that one.
That's a great way to address different challenges. How do we balance work and life, I mean personal life, but also how to actually get into programming. Sibongile.
Yes, thank you. I'll take the question about breaking cultural barriers. For us, for me in particular, I decided that I will go for what I love, and I would not, let anything to steer me away from my dreams. In aviation, particularly in the private jet market, where there are a lot of wealthy people, you find them wearing gray suits and white shirts. And I decided that getting into the industry, I will wear my bright colors. And you can see me from far that I am a woman. It might sound silly, but it makes a huge statement. You should see me sitting in a boardroom with my bright colors amongst people wearing their gray suits. There's nothing wrong with that. Also, when we do programs, aviation programs, where we empower young girls and boys, we go to schools, we fly in the helicopters, land in a school, pick up a best performing maths and science students, regardless of gender, and we give them a helicopter flip. That, it changes the mindset for everyone. You won't believe that the schools, they call us back and say there are more people who have achieved great marks in their maths and science, and they are waiting for the helicopter to come and fetch them. So it's the small things that you do that have got a great impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think that addresses what he was saying. The small things can actually make a great impact.
The lady at the back, she said something about women being empowering other women. But I have been in a session in ALU. I was talking to a group of girls there, and they were telling me how they were disappointed by an expert that was brought in for one of their projects. They said they would bring an expert, but they brought one of their instructors in the university who's a lady. I asked her, why were you disappointed? One of the girls said, I was expecting a man in a suit, and it was a girl. I had to actually deviate from whatever it is that I was saying and spent half an hour on just talking about why would you think an expert in any field must be a man in a suit. And the problem is, this is an African girl who's saying this. She was expecting a white man in a suit.
Oh, wow.
So what I'm saying is, discrimination may not be only from men. Women could be in HR as well. Women could be the one who's hiring, making the hiring decisions. You should be looking at somebody's skills, not their, whether they are a man or woman. Most women, I can hear women themselves saying sometimes, why would I hire a woman when I can hire a man to be working in my technology company? They literally say that. If we as women are discriminating against ourselves, why are we expecting men to be any different?
Thank you very much. I think that's strong enough for all of us. Josephine?
I'll take what are we doing for young girls in remote rural areas or where we are? And I think let's start small. I won't promise to build a school for, I don't know, girls in whichever area, but I have a responsibility to encourage women, my colleagues at work, women I live with in family, or women I cross each and every day. So it's my responsibility to make sure I don't see a woman get discouraged or living up her dream and keep quiet. I need to wake up her or push her or even challenge her so that she can grow. So I think if we could start where we are, small as we can get there.
Thank you very much. And another round of applause for the great panelists and their insights. We're coming to the closure of the panel, but I would like to share some key messages probably with you from the different discussion that we've had before giving the floor back to the MC. I think we learned that STEM doesn't necessarily have to begin with a degree. It's not only when you have that PhD that you can start doing something in STEM, and I think Sibongile is a great example of that. She also shared the importance of passion. If you do something just because you've been told to do it, you might not be able to actually do it properly. So follow your passion, look for it and follow it. We also heard about the importance of women breaking barriers, all sorts of barriers, be it mindset barriers, being social barriers, financial barriers, structural barriers, because as we break barriers into new areas where women haven't really been represented, we're also leading the way to other women to get into those areas, and that's very important. That's our responsibility. I think we talked about having a learning and conducing framework that can actually enable all of us or young women to actually strive in the area that they want to go into. And we also talked about personal development. It's one thing to get a degree or to get courses in class, but if you are not really investing in yourself and investing through education, additional courses, just information is out there, and internet is really opening up to a number of opportunities. So what are we doing about those opportunities ourselves? We also talked about having role models. And just in case, if you haven't found any role model, please, those are here for you, I think we're told. So reach out to them and look for role models around you. I mean, internet, once again, and social media offers crazy opportunities on reaching people from all over the world. And I also think that the most important is that it's also our responsibility. And we are the actors of our future, potentially. So it's the little things, we can do something at our own level. It's our business, basically. But we also have to go the extra mile. And I think we're called to be overachievers. So let all young women in this room become overachievers. And let's all together just make that happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Novella. Thank you so much, the panelists. We have a privilege to be with the CEO and the founder of DOT. DOT is the Digital Opportunity Trust. I'll get back, I'll mention exactly what DOT does after the video.
Hey, my name is Jolie. I'm here in Kigali with a case for change to learn more about how mobile connectivity is transforming women's lives. But first, let me tell you a little about my country. Less well known about Rwanda is its record for gender equality. In 1994, Rwanda was a country in ruins. A mass genocide against the Tutsi made 40% of the entire population fled or were lost in just 4 months. Of the remaining population, 70% were female. Despite the devastation and atrocities they had lived through, Rwandan women became the driving force for change, rebuilding families and communities by adopting new responsibilities on a never-before-seen scale. Legislation soon followed. Women's education was promoted, as were their roles in business and infrastructure. 2017 saw the introduction of the Digital Ambassador Program, an initiative led by MITEC in partnership with Digital Opportunity Trust and supported by ECOS to improve digital literacy in Rwanda. This is an issue that Airtel Tigo Rwanda is also working on. It has a special emphasis on women to increase their role in the growing digital economy in the country. The program teaches digital literacy in rural communities and has also been implemented in the more remote areas of the country.
Njye ku giti cyanjye ikintu cyamotivye cyangwa se cyatumye numva naba intore mu ikoranabuhanga nuko nabonaga ko ari porogaramu izazamura ubuzima bw'abaturage benshi, nkumva nanjye nshaka kuba umwe mu bazabigiramo uruhare.
Ukajya kuri Facebook ya Club Pan yanjye ku giti cyanjye, ngashyiraho ka kantu, noneho abakurikiye ya Facebook ya Club bagashyiraho comment, cyangwa se nabo bagakenera kuza kwigana natwe bitewe ko babonye ko dukora byiza. Nkasanga muri rusange internet ituma twamamaza ibikorwa byacu bikagurirwaho twicaye tudukanze ya mafaranga. Abantu muri rusange ese muri sosiyete ndimo, iyo mbabwiye ikintu ndimo gukora kandi nikoresheje telefone yanjye, bifata nk'uruhare ruri hejuru rufite kuba nabo rwagira icyo rubamarira, kubera ko n'abana narababereye wa mbere mu gutinyuka nkakora cya kintu, ariko nkanabereka ko nta mbogamizi irimo, bagomba nabo kugikora, bakumva ko inzira naciyemo nabo bagomba kwicamo kugira ngo twubake u Rwanda twifuza.
Here we are in Nyagatare. I'm on my way going to see Jasmine, who started up her own business.
Ibintu bijyanye n'ikoranabuhanga, ibindi mbafasha, hari igihe umuntu aba ashaka kwa apurayinga onorayini, noneho akaza wenda akazana diplome, amadokima yose nkaba nabisikaninga nkabimwohereza nko kuri email.
These women lit up when they talked about how they could now use this technology. It really gave them a new sense of freedom and that anything is possible.
Bivuze ko mu magambo make nuko kwigisha umugore no kwigisha umuryango, kandi umuryango nicyo gihugu ngiye numva.
The Digital Ambassador Program is already transforming Rwanda, but it has the power to transform the entire African continent. If that has meant something to you, then please show your support by sharing this video. Thank you.
Thank you to Dot. Mrs. Longmore, Janet, the floor is yours so that you can address the audience, the remarks. Thank you.
Oh, hello, everyone. What a beautiful room this is. Every single one of you is a role model. If you think about it, every single one of you is a role model. And when we heard today about courage, perseverance, the mindset shift, passion, again, every single one of you, I know, have those characteristics. You're courageous. You're here, are you not? And you're planning for your future. This video just so inspired me, and I've seen it many times. But when these women lit up, when they learned what they could do with technology, that is so powerful. I'm going to transform my entire country. And the DOT model is women to women and peer to peer, role model to role model, women using technology in their villages. They're tycoons, they're powerful. Each and every one of you has the capacity to have that influence in your community and in your country and beyond. And I heard so many powerful things from our panel. And so I was thinking, what one thing could I leave you with? And this is over the many years of working on DOT, 18 years starting DOT. And I've been the only woman in the room many, 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 many times. And one thing I'd like you to take away with you. Women are natural communicators. You know this. We're the storytellers, we're the communicators, we care for our children with stories, we communicate with each other, we're always on the phone, reaching out to our girlfriends, talking. Well, the internet was actually built to facilitate communication, right? So women, as natural communicators, are really the leaders in how the internet can be shaped. And in the male-dominated world, and thank you to all the men that are in the room because we can do this with you, but the Internet of Things has now been defined. Things connect to each other. Houses are being connected. Devices are connected. Well, what about the Internet of humanity? What about a sharing and caring world, and leveraging the way we are communicating and connecting to build a more sharing and caring world. And so the one thing I'd like you to take away in the journey that you are on now and that you'll continue to be on, because you will be influencers, you will be role models in technology, but what you do, what you design, who you engage with, think about the Internet of humanity and your contribution as young women, as leaders, and young men and men who are in with us on this, how you can contribute to that more sharing and caring world. The products you design that address challenges that we're all facing here in Africa and beyond in the world. It's a rapidly changing time. So think about your natural role as women, as communicators, as tech adopters, as influencers, as caring people. And let's build the Internet for humanity. Thank you. Thank you very much, and good luck to everyone.